Welcome back to another episode. I am Keeler Bryson, your host and founder of Teachable Life Moments. Well, folks, today we are recording episode 23. Can you believe that? It seems like time has been flying by, and I've just been recording and trying to come up with some good content. And then I lift up my head and realize, oh my goodness, I have recorded 23 episodes, and that's exciting. I don't take it lightly. The episodes that I prepare for the Teachable Life Moments podcast, I really try to meditate and just have prayerful consideration of the content that we put out there, because I don't want to put content out that is not relevant, that's not helping people, that's not making folks think or challenging us all to become better in some way. And so today's episode is definitely one that's going to cause us to look deep within ourselves. And a lot of times, I know when we talk about some subjects, we tend to think of other people, of who we think that this topic is good for, especially if it's one that's challenging us to grow and to develop and to improve ourselves. But today's episode, I want us to think about ourselves because, we are in the year 2020. And there are some amazing, amazing things that are in store for you and me and the people that we know. And when those things begin to happen for those that we know, I want us to already be in the right mindset and already have the right heart for when we begin to see God bless those that we know, those that we love. And when that happens, we don't want to be a party pooper. We want to have the right spirit when we see others blessed, because I'm here to tell you, we are living in a time where people are not always happy to see other people blessed. And I don't know about you, but that bothers me when I see that, especially for a believer to behave in that way. We are in a time where there is so much negativity. There is so much just vindictiveness and just downright evilness. And so a lot of times people are reluctant about sharing their blessings because they don't want to experience the backlash of a slew of negative emotions that tend to come as a result. And so today's episode is challenging us to become people that celebrate other people in their victory, in their successes, and their accomplishments. Where we don't sit back in the dark, lurking and just watching and never say anything nice or supportive. We've got to become a people that support one another and lift up one another, because I'm here to tell you, the folks that are all about the negativity, believe me, they are on their job. And if we claim to be a believer or a person that's all about positivity, then we've got to become more active in lifting up and encouraging others, because anytime you see someone achieve anything great, I'm here to tell you that it took something to achieve that. It was no light undertaking. There was some suffering, some pain, some misery in there somewhere. And so when we begin to see God promote people and take people to the heights that maybe we've been dreaming about, we've got to learn how to celebrate them. And I'm talking about with a pureness of our heart, not, doing it with our mouth, but our heart is far from really celebrating them. And so I want to get us in the zone and get us preconditioned, because God is getting ready to bless some people. And I'm going to be one of those people. I decree and I declare that. And one of the ways to be one of those folks is we've got to learn how to overcome jealousy. So today's episode is entitled Overcoming Jealousy. Jealousy is one of those things that no one really wants to admit that they have. No one really wants to admit that they experience, that they battle with that. Especially if you are a believer. We like to fix up and put on our holy attire and go to our weekly services. And on the outside, it looks like we are just dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. But inwardly, there is an issue going on. And a lot of times it's that issue that's preventing God from really blessing us and taking our lives to the next level. And so I've been impressed to present today's episode as a way of challenging us and exposing this and revealing it, because sometimes we can bury it down so deep that we don't realize that a spirit of jealousy is inside of us. So have you ever experienced jealousy? Was someone jealous of you, or were you jealous of someone else? How did that feel? If someone was ever jealous of you, it didn't feel good. It made you feel bad, and you didn't understand why someone was jealous of you, especially if it was a person that you considered a dear friend. And what's worse is when it's a family member, someone that is related to you, maybe a sister or a brother, an aunt, and even in the school system, there, believe it or not, there are teachers who are jealous of students. And I find that just so mind-boggling. I'm like, you're a full-grown adult and you are jealous of a child, this young person. So how did it make you feel? And what did you do to change it? Did you go into prayer? Did you say, oh my God, I'm jealous, and not in a good way? Did you go and talk to God about it in prayer? Did you begin to seek ways to get rid of that spirit? What did you do? Many of us are so preoccupied, if we're not careful, we are preoccupied and consumed with the things that other people have until it reaches a point where the spirit of jealousy is activated. Too many of us are paying attention to other folks. We really should get focused on what God is doing in our lives. But sometimes we can just get too focused on people. You on social media all the time. And a lot of times people, we tend to post the highlights of our lives. We don't really want to post the back room sessions and the down in the basement sessions of our lives. We only want to showcase the highlights. And sometimes that can activate a spirit of jealousy in folks. I believe at some point in all of our lives, we've all been faced with the spirit of jealousy. If you have siblings, you have experienced it, I'm sure, where you felt like your parents showed more favor to your brother or your sister. Whatever the case is, some of us experience mild cases of jealousy, and then there are extreme cases of jealousy. And, when we see an individual with a new vehicle or a new or bigger home, new clothing, or they may do something to change their appearance, or maybe they start a new business or get a new job or promotion, or maybe they're married and got beautiful children, or maybe they're an excellent employee on the job, and their supervisor ends up getting jealous of them because they see that employee is smart and they know how to get things done, and everybody on the job loves them. And these are all examples of how, if we're not careful, we can find ourselves getting jealous. And sometimes we can even get jealous of the different gifts and abilities that people have. And then sometimes we just flat out tend to be jealous when we see other people who appear to be prospering more than us. Now, those are some hefty examples that I just gave you. When you look at your social media timeline, people are posting these things, a new business, a new, maybe God has given them a new business idea, or maybe they've gotten a promotion on their job, or maybe they just got married. to this handsome person or this beautiful woman, and or maybe they just look like they're just prospering. They're always on trips and vacations, and you know, that will cause people to become jealous. And that it looks like they have a beautiful life. And what do? You sit there and you may not most people want to like, share, comment. And we enjoy looking at those beautiful photos and listening to their video that they did, and the content that they share was so awesome. And we just scrolled on past like we didn't see it, and we go, huh. In fact, most people probably feel like Facebook is fake book. But, I think some people do that as a way to make themselves feel better when they make that type of comment. I'm sure there are some folks out here, what they post is probably really what's going on. Now, I'm sure there's some fake stuff going on, some fakery, but there are some people out there, their story is what it is. And we want to celebrate those people, show the love. And then you see people posting some foolery, and they get all these kind of comments, like, and shares, but somebody that look like God is using them, that his hand is up on them, and we just sit there like we don't hear him. And so God is challenging us today. We need to overcome the spirit of jealousy because, first of all, we need to look within ourselves and assess and see, is it in us? And if it is, we need to figure out why. What's going on with us? I mean, we are a believer, and God can't bless us if this thing is in us, because I'm telling you, the spirit of jealousy is a dangerous thing to have. The spirit of jealousy can incite you to malign someone just so you can feel better about yourself in comparison. Isn't that ugly? You're going to malign someone just so you can feel better. Okay, so what is going on with you inside that you get satisfaction out of maligning someone else so you can feel better? While jealousy is part of the pride complex of sins, it also generates a whole suite of other sinful reactions, such as bitterness. Have you ever seen a person that they boldly show that they are jealous, and you also tend to see bitterness in them, or vindictiveness? And sometimes we see this in our families. We see it on the jobs. The spirit of jealousy also in this suite of sinful reactions, there's ruthlessness, competition. There are verbal sins, and then there are usually some revenge tactics in this suite of sinful reactions. And there is, oh my goodness, I'm telling you, I have seen the toxicity of the spirit of jealousy, how it grows into this monster that's almost like a person that's psychotic and just insane. And so we do not want the spirit of jealousy within us. Now, when I just discussed all of those things, can't you see why God can't bless us if we harbor or house the spirit of jealousy within us? Because at that point, we are dangerous. Even God himself cannot trust us, because that is a foul spirit, and we must get rid of it if we are going to be one of those that are in that number for 2020 that God is getting ready to take to a whole nother level that's going to set the precedence for the next 10 years. And it's this simple thing yet difficult thing, is the spirit of jealousy. When you have the spirit of jealousy, you're going to always be on the sideline looking at others getting what they have been seeking and believing God for. And it's because they've kept their heart pure. They celebrate and congratulate and lift up one another, encourage one another. Jealousy is a sinful act, and it leads to division. It leads to hate and even murder. Let me say that again. Jealousy is a sinful act. All right, now that's a mouthful right there. If jealousy resides within you, your loved ones, or whomever, it's a sinful act. And as a result, it's going to cause division. It's going to cause hate. It's going to cause potentially even murder, maybe literally or figuratively. Maybe you want to murder someone's character. Jealousy was inspired when Cain killed Abel. We can see jealousy in Joseph's brothers in the Bible when they sold him into slavery. And we also saw it with King Saul when he wanted to destroy David. I mean, here David is one of his greatest and most loyal soldiers, and King Saul wanted to kill him because he was jealous. Jealousy is also inspired by someone getting more attention or being more popular than the next person. Now, we see this in sports. We can see it. It doesn't matter what setting you're in, sports setting, work, in your family, even in churches. People can be jealous of certain folks in the church because maybe that person is so gifted and anointed and well loved. And I mean, even leaders can be jealous of the folks that they lead. And we see that happen with King Saul and David. So I know it happens just like that in the church, where a leader can literally be jealous of a person that's basically looking up to them for leadership. We see that Saul's jealousy opened the door to the spirit of insanity and murder because he did not address it. And so he literally became crazy. And that's why I say the spirit of jealousy is dangerous, because it has been known to drive people to do some insane things and even murder. I mean, there are all kind of shows on television that go back and cover murders and like Fatal Attractions and things like that, all from the spirit of jealousy. And the spirit of jealousy can transform a sweet person like you, a good person like you that's innocent. And the next thing you know, if we don't get a hold of that spirit of jealousy, it will turn you into a mass murderer. And people will be shocked. And you can tell when that spirit of jealousy elevates to that level, because the person don't even look like themselves anymore. In James 3:16, it says, where there is envy and strife, there is confusion and every evil work. You know, some families can't even get together and have a great time because the spirit of jealousy is creating that division. The spirit of jealousy is creating hate in a family. You know, you often hear the term hate. Don't hate, congratulate. Some people cannot congratulate because that spirit of jealousy is holding them hostage and got them almost like a terrorist of jealousy in a family, on the jobs, in the schools. And we've got to check this thing, because if we are believers, it shouldn't be found within us. And it's stopping us from going up higher and higher in God. So, next, I want to talk about what are the personal characteristics of the spirit of jealousy. So you may say, well, Keeler, what you just said is so good, but how can I tell if I have the spirit of jealousy? Because I really want to look within myself. Well, here are some signs and symptoms of, I'm first going to talk about the signs and symptoms of being envious. There's a scripture in Proverbs 14:30 that says, a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. So if you have a spirit of envy, then here are the surface symptoms. First, you will encourage envy in others. You're boastful. You feel a need to maybe put other people down. In other words, you're critical of people. You're vengeful. You have vengeful feelings toward others, resentful. Internal pain. You may have internal pain over the success of others. I mean, in other words, you're just begrudging, you're boiling over when you see God blessing somebody or somebody being blessed. You are maybe an overachiever, very competitive as a result. And in other words, you feel like you're the only one that can win. You don't want nobody else to win. And if they win and you lose, then okay, oh my goodness, here comes that spirit of envious, a spirit of envy. If you have a spirit of envy, you tend to have unfulfilled desires or cravings. You tend to be greedy, and you tend to be self-exalting, very demanding. Oh my goodness, these are people that'll embarrass you in public if they feel like somebody is not catering to them the way that they want to be catered to. Now, if you have the spirit of jealousy, here are the symptoms of jealousy. First, I want to give you a scripture. There's a scripture in Proverbs 27:4 that says, "Anger is cruel and fury overwhelming. But who can stand before jealousy?" Who can stand before jealousy? If you have a spirit of jealousy, you are judgmental of others. Especially like if they're out here performing or doing something, I mean, you judging it instead of trying to see the good and seeing that they are good at what they do. You are judgmental. You have exclusive expectations. In other words, if you are friends with somebody, you only want them to be friends with you. You are not going to allow for outside relationships or friendships. I mean, they can only be your friend. And if they have another friend, then you are jealous. The next thing, you have anxiety and anger over potential loss. Like if it looks like your relationship is about to be lost to another person, or you feel threatened that somebody's moving in on a relationship, friendship, or what have you, or a relationship with your parent, you feel like maybe a second sibling has been born and now you feel threatened. Okay, you have a spirit of jealousy trying to creep in. If you're leaning on the identity of others, I mean, it's like you just emotionally dependent. Oh my goodness, you're draining. Your identity only exists because of this person. If you are overly possessive of others, I mean, you got a controlling spirit. Yeah, you have a spirit of jealousy because we don't control anybody. Even God doesn't try to control us, but if you are overly possessive, I mean, you ready to beat up your boyfriend if he looks like he took too long getting the receipt from the waitress. You have a spirit of jealousy, and that thing is cruel. It makes you have anger and I mean fury, and it's overwhelming. If you have a spirit of jealousy, you're unable to trust God. You are insecure. And that right there is the top reason why God cannot deal with you and me. If a spirit of jealousy is there, you are unable to trust God. You trying to orchestrate things yourself to happen, controlling relationships, friendships, and what other people think about this person. You want to be the one that's popular and getting all the attention. Okay, you're doing too much. You are insecure, and as a result, God gonna have to sit you down on the bench until you can get yourself purged and cleaned out of this spirit. If you have a spirit of jealousy, you tend to be suspicious of normal behavior of others. You're very distrustful. Does any of that sound like you? Well, if it does, hold on. We're going to get some help for all of us because we want to take an x-ray of ourselves, take an x-ray of our heart and our minds and our spirits to figure out, am I harboring any of this within me? Because if I am, I've got to get rid of it. Because this is the year where we are got to go deep within and get out everything that's holding us back. And it's going to start with this spirit of jealousy. You know, I don't know if you've ever heard this phrase. It says jealousy has no friends. And you know, after I've listed what envy looks like and what jealousy looks like, the symptoms of it, no, you're not going to have any friends. And really, you're not going to have any family for that matter, because nobody in your family is going to want to be around you if you act like this. You insane. you're hateful, and you just killing all the relationships in the family, and you're killing all of your blessings and prosperity that can really elevate you to the next level. God wants to use you for his glory, but he can't trust you. You don't trust him, and he don't trust you. Now, although jealousy has many faces, it has no friends. A person that's jealous, they can like you and promote you one day and view you as a threat the next day. People with a spirit of jealousy, as you can see there, they're not stable. And as long as they feel more popular, more talented, more powerful than a person, then they'll promote them. But the second that person's notoriety, favor, talent, power surpasses their own, then the war begins. Does that sound like you? If your friend is prettier than you and seems to always get all the attention when you go out, does that make something rise up within you? Or if it seems your employee, let's say you're the supervisor, and your employee is just solving all kinds of problems in the workplace and coming up with savvy solutions, and everyone feels like this person should be maybe a leader eventually, but you feel insecure and intimidated because maybe something's going on in you and you feel like this person's trying to show you up. They're not. They're just operating in their gift. And as a result, you are making their life miserable. All because you don't trust God. You are insecure. Jealousy leads us to try to reduce a person, highlight their weaknesses, and build structures to control them. And it will cause us to develop a case against them and try to incite a crowd to persecute them. So now that you feel some type of way about a person, now you're going to try to get a crowd. Now you got to go get some supporters to help take this person down. Do you do that? Oh my goodness. This is why we've got to get rid of this thing, the spirit of jealousy. Jealousy can build a beautiful palace, but a destroyer is lurking in the basement, just waiting for the opportunity to mastermind some ploy to bring down its victims. And when a person has a spirit of jealousy and you know it, you don't trust them. It doesn't matter how kind they are. They can try to buy you stuff, expensive things, and you don't even want it from them because you know they have a spirit of jealousy on them. And there's a price to pay for them doing anything for you. And even if you don't honor them in the right way for getting you that gift, war is going to break out. They're going to begin to be vindictive, vengeful, demanding, and they're going to be angry, and you don't know if they're going to hurt you. They may try to sabotage you in some type of way, in a way that could potentially damage your credibility with everyone. This is why we must get rid of the spirit of jealousy if we have it, because it is a person that's insane, on the verge of just killing you physically, for real, or just figuratively killing the relationship. And it can be so bad until it really will take the power of God to try to restore the relationship, the friendship, because you don't trust them, and then they don't even realize that they have a problem. And you can tell when they come around, it just changes the whole atmosphere, because this is almost like a demonic presence. When they come around the family or in the workplace, something shifts in the atmosphere. And everybody feel like they may have to cater to this person because they know that they are sensitive, insecure, and got all these internal issues going on. All right, so now quickly, because I'm already at 29 minutes. I got to hurry up. I want to talk to you about 4 steps to overcome jealousy. Because as I've just shared with you, we cannot walk around being a toxic person like this. This is a foul spirit. And it's going to hold you back and me back if we have it and don't do something about it. This is the year to get it together, get it right. The first thing we've got to do, we must admit that we are jealous. And we got to stop justifying our sin. You know, a lot of times when you tell a person they jealous, what's the first thing they'll say? No,